Okay, welcome to Appleton Private University, UK and Spain. And yes, you can International Academic UK Global Online Diploma class.
Dear God, we came to you in prayer with a humble heart. Please guide us and give us strength as we navigate through this day. Us to be a vessel of your love and kindness to make a positive impact in the world. May your presence be with me always, and may we always strive to do. Thank you for your blessings and for the gift.
Okay, welcome again for this time and for time for transformation. We've started a journey together since May to July. Since May, and we're gonna round up in July. And we focus on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Our modules for this global online diploma masterclass is on mindset, personal development, emotional intelligence, artificial intelligence, finance intelligence, and leadership and management. And we've been doing a lot of assignment for all our lecturers. And also remember that this course is for 3 months, durable for each lecturer 1 hour or 1 hour 30 minutes. So we normally start from 10 and most likely we'll finish today around 2:30 because our last speaker, Professor Dr. Patricia Gonde, will start from 1 o'clock. But to be qualified for the diploma certificate, you have to be on attendance of 80%. Your assignment needs to be submitted and get ready to get the graduation. Like I always say that the graduation that's supposed to be on the 2nd of August, we've moved it to September because we want you to do the dissertation throughout August, work on your own, and then in September, there will be like 3 things together. Number one, we're going to be celebrating our 50th year anniversary. Number two, Award Day. Number three, Transformational Leadership Conference. And number four, graduation for this Global Online Diploma Master. So that is why we are moving our graduations to September and not August. So I wish you all the best. Okay, this morning we're going to straight away start off with our amazing lecturer from India. You remember artificial intelligence is a very new in the market, and we want to know all about it so that we will know how to adjust to this change and how to familiarize ourselves with this artificial intelligence. And if you have missed any of this program, please avail yourself to YYCI.TV YouTube channel, and all the videos are there, including the assignments. And if you want to catch up with all the assignments so far, you can either email us on yYCI.academy@gmail.com, and we'll be able to give you the full length in document all the assignments so far. Okay, Professor Dr. Subrata Chattopadhyay is an MNC, MBA, and PhD holder from IIT ISM Durban. Adept at innovative teaching practices, he is highly networked with the industry. He is not only teaching but also practices, and his students do adore him for the same. He has contributed in more than 30 international journals, I'm sure it's more than that by now, and has published more than 23 papers in seminars, conferences. Besides, he has authored 3 books on computation, in estate management, transport management, and values and ethics for engineer and managers. He is an editorial board of 5 international journals, and also Dr. Supraya has been awarded and recognized as the Outstanding Higher Education Leader of the Year by its SOE Global Education Award in 2024 and 2014, and recognized by NFED for his contributions to mentoring startups, teaching, and research for 2 consecutive years, 2023 and 2013 and 2014. He was conferred the prestige MTC Global Top Thinker Award in September 2015 and Mentor of the Year by HRD India in June 2019. So, allow me now to welcome Dr. Subrata to enlighten us more about artificial intelligence. You're welcome. May I also use this time to welcome and acknowledge my own lifetime mentor that is visiting us on this program. And please stay behind because immediately after Dr. Subrata, he will be addressing us with his wealth of wisdom. So thank you so much and welcome, Mr. Suete Taiwo. I believe others will be joining us as we move on. So over to you, sir, Professor Dr. Subrata from India.
Is my screen visible? I hope
Yes,
it is.
yes, it is.
Okay, great. So, very good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all esteemed guests from across the world. It is my privilege to continue with my session on artificial intelligence. And we have covered quite substantial part of artificial intelligence. And in today's session and the remaining sessions, we will be discussing more on artificial intelligence and its applications uh, as we go through. And I'm really very happy that those of you who are attending the sessions, you are also doing the assignments very religiously, very punctually, and very seriously. So, a big round of applause to all of you for that. So, I'll start straight away my session today. So, basically, what we were doing uh, is, yeah. So, we were talking about agents and environments. So, when we talk about agents, um, so as I said that uh, when we talk about agent is anything that can perceive the environment through sensors and act upon the environment through effectors. So I discussed in my last class that about human agents, about robotic agents, and software agents. So today, what I'll do is I'll take you through uh, the different types of agents that we have discussed, and then understand a little bit more about agent terminologies. So, first of all, performance measure of an agent. So, how does an agent perform? Is basically the criteria or the yardstick by which you determine how successful the agent is. Like, say, for example, if you can see with your eyes properly, your eye is an agent. So, if you can see with your eyes properly, maybe a long distance, that means your eye is successfully able to perceive the particular object that you want to see. So performance agent actually measures how successful the agent is. Then we have the behavior of the agent. So what do we understand by behavior of the agent? That means how the agent performs after the given sequence of percepts is about the behavior of the agent. And then we have another terminology called percept, which actually means that the agent's perceptual inputs at a given instance. So then we have percept sequence. That means percept sequence actually means the history of all that an agent perceived till date. So basically, when we talk about artificial intelligence, it's all about machine learning. So how the machine adopts to the different learning through the external agents that are there is about the agent terminology. So moving on, agent function is actually the map, the percept sequence to action. So it is a map from the percept sequence to the final action. That is called the agent function. Now we go on to understand something which is called rationality. So as you understand by the term rational, it means something which is reasonable, something which is logical, so something which is plausible. So rationality is nothing but status of being reasonable, sensible, and having a good sense of judgment. So when we talk about rationality, it means that it is concerned with the expected actions and results depending upon what the agent has perceived. So depending on the input, are you getting the rational output? Are you getting the logical output? So performing the actions with the aim of obtaining useful information is an important part of rationality. Having understood this, the definition of rationality, we now move on to understand that what is an ideal rational agent. So an ideal rational agent is basically the one which is capable of doing expected actions to maximize the performance measure. How will it do it? It will actually do the expected actions based on two things. One, the percept sequence. Two, the inbuilt knowledge base. That means how much of knowledge you are giving to the machine to learn, based on which the output will be different. So if you give more and more knowledge and cover different areas that are there, different situations that are there, then the output will be much better. So rationality of the agent will depend on, number one, the performance measures, which determines the degree of success. Number two, the agent's percept sequence till now. Number three, how much of prior knowledge it had about the environment before you took over. And number four, the actions that the agent can carry out. So basically, for a rational agent to be successful and to always perform the right action, where the right action means that causes the agent to be most successful in a given percept sequence. So the problem that the agent solves is characterized by what I talked about, performance measures, that how successful the agent is performing. So that is called performance measure. Then the environment in which the agent is functioning, which are the actuators, and lastly, which are the sensors and how the effective the sensors are in detecting the environmental fluctuations or the situations. Now, I'll go to the structure of intelligent agent. So, agent structure is actually viewed as, so agent is basically the architecture, that is the environment broadly, and then the agent program. That means in the given environment, what the agent is supposed to do. So that is the agent program. So architecture is basically the machinery that an agent executes on, and the agent program is implementation of an agent function. Now, there can be different types of agents. For example, a very simple reflex agent can be there. What does it do? So what is reflex? Reflex is, say, for example, I feel pain on my head. So what do? I try to massage my head, right? So that is reflex action. Very simple. So reflex agent, so they choose actions based on the current perception. So what is the current perception based on which actions are done? They are rational only if a correct decision is made, only on the basis of the current perception. So given a particular situation, like I showed you on ChatGPT, I had written that, this is the symptom. If I have written it properly, then the ChatGPT responded properly. And Ma, you would agree, the other day I was showing on ChatGPT, it did not understand actually, what I meant. And that's why I had to correct the language. And then it understood that what it needs to be done. Okay. So that is basically machine learning, that how, concisely, how precisely you can actually define the person. So they are rational only if a correct decision is made only on the basis of correct person. And the environment is completely observable. So these are the characteristics of a simple reflex agent. Okay. So basically what I was talking just now, you can see over here, the environment is there. Then you have the sensors and the effectors. So the sensors actually detect that how the world is now, what actions need to be done, and based on the conditions, based on the effectors, so the condition action rule actually takes place. Then we have model-based reflex agents, wherein they use a model of the world to choose the actions. So the model can be very simple, knowledge about how things happen in the world. So for example, so the internal state is the representation of the unobserved agents of the current state, depending on the perceived history. Now for this, you need to know and you need to update the state, which requires the information about how the world evolved. What are the things that went into the evolution process and how the agent's actions affect the world. Because if you are inflicting an external agent, that external agent will actually impact the system. So it depends on what is the agent and how it affects the system. So that is basically the condition action rule. Okay. So moving on, there are also goal-based agents. What are goal-based agents? They choose their actions in order to achieve the goals. So goal-based approach is more flexible than reflex. Why? Because it is already having a definite goal. Okay. So say for example, as you can see on the screen, the environment is there. So basically we are studying that how is the world like now? What happens if I do action A? Now, if I do action A, what will be the outcome of that? So that will be the goal. Okay. So I'll give you, one pertinent example. So we have people over here from different backgrounds, right? So revered Dr. TPS is there, who is, was a scientist, and he understands it extremely well. But we have people from diverse backgrounds. Now, when I am taking a particular session, I have to understand that what I will cover and what I will not cover. So basically, I have to customize my session that if I include this things, will the people be able to understand? So what happens if I do action A? And For that, what actions I need to do. So the basic, if I want to achieve my goal, that this master class that I'm taking should yield some knowledge, should yield some concept about artificial intelligence, then I have to make my session so lucid and clear so that everyone can understand it. So hence, I have customized my sessions in accordingly. And even in the material that I'm delivering, right, I'll skip certain portions which may be a little bit difficult. Okay, so basically, the goal-based agent actually thinks what is the ultimate motive, what is it that I want to achieve, and based on which the goal-based agents do act. Okay, then we have also another type of agents which is called the utility agents. Okay, so when we talk about the environment in general, right? So some programs operate in the entirely artificial environment, confined to the keyboard input, the database, the computer file systems, and the character output on the screen. Okay. In contrast, some software agents, like say, for example, when we talk about software robots, when we talk about, uh, they are called soft bots, in fact. So they exist in such limited software domains. So here, the simulator that is used has a very detailed, a complex environment. And the software agent has to choose a long array of actions in real time. So a sort bot designed to scan the online preferences of the customer. Say, for example, that you want to do some shopping online. Now, based on your choice, tastes, and preferences, the sort bot will be able to detect and tell that, well, these are the things that you may be liking and show you the items in your order of preference. That means that it has learned your preferences and showing you your way. Now, if I am doing the shopping, then it may be showing some other things and in some other way. So it has understood the behavior. And that is why the simulator is a very detailed, complex environment, and the software agent has to perform a long array of actions so as to give a good, significant output. Okay, so the most famous artificial environment is called the Turing test environment, and this is very important, in which one real and other artificial agents are tested on equal ground. Now, having said that, this is a very challenging environment. Why? Because it is very difficult for a software agent to perform just like a human being does. So we'll try to understand in a nutshell that what Turing test is all about. So moving to Turing test. So the success of an intelligent behavior of a system can be measured with Turing test, as I said. Now let us take one example so as to understand what Turing test is all about. Two persons and a machine to be evaluated to participate in the test. Now, out of these two persons, one plays the role of a tester. Each one of them sits in different rooms, and the tester is unaware who is machine and who is human. So he interrogates the questions by typing and sending them to both the intelligences, to which he receives the typed responses. So one is, human, the other is a machine. We need to understand, what is the difference between human and machine. that whether the machine is being able to do as humans do. Okay, so the simulation is there. Okay, so is it understandable so far? I think okay, great.
Yes.
So now we come to understanding certain properties of the environment. So when we talk about environment can be having different multifold properties. Like environment can be discrete or continuous. Say for example, you are playing chess with a machine, and you know, so that means human machine interaction is there. Now in chess, you will give the you use the different uh, so-called moves discretely. Okay, so if there are limited number of distinct, clearly defined states of environment, then the environment is discrete. For example, chess. Otherwise, say for example, you are using a driving simulator. You are using a driving simulator. So over there, the environment is continuous. It cannot be, a discrete set of environment. So environment can be discrete, environment can be continuous. Environment can be observable or it can be partially observable. So what is observable? So it is possible to, if it is possible to determine the complete state of the environment at each point of time from the percepts, then it is observable. Otherwise, it is partially observable. Like say, for example, the environment in which we are, it is partially observable. Why it is partially observable? I can only see the screen and I can see two people with their camera on and the rest, their camera is off. And I hope that they are there.
Yeah, there.
Okay. So which means that it is partially observable. And also, even if when our camera is on, even when our camera is on, right, I cannot see what is there in the background or what is happening, on the left or right or, in the front or the back, right? So that means it is a partial observable environment. Then environment can be static, environment can be dynamic. So the environment does not change with the agent. When the agent is acting, then it is static. Otherwise, it is dynamic. Then it can be accessible or inaccessible environment. What is accessible and inaccessible environment? If the agent's sensory apparatus can have access to the complete state of the environment, then the environment is accessible to the agent. So for complete accessibility, you have to have the full purview of the agent that has to be there. Then it can be deterministic or it can be non-deterministic. So if the next state of the environment is completely determined by the current state, that means what action, like when you are giving different moves of the chess, so what the machine or what the human will do in the next step will depend on what I am doing. So that is called deterministic. Why it is deterministic? Because it is guided by the previous move. So if the next state of the environment is completely determined by the current state and the actions of the agent, then the environment is deterministic. Otherwise, it is non-deterministic. Then environment can also be episodic or non-episodic. So if it consists of the agent perceiving and then acting, then it is episodic. So the quality of the action depends just on the episode itself. So subsequent episodes do not depend on the action of the previous episodes. So that is when it is non-deterministic. Okay, like say for example, my session over here is a continuous session. That means it is episodic in nature. Okay, so the quality of the action depends on the episode itself, and here the subsequent episodes will depend on the previous episodes for it to be continuous. So episodic environments are much simpler. Okay, and because the agent does not think, have to think ahead. So let us move on to some of the popular search algorithms. And here I will not go into too much details because it includes a little bit of programming, a little bit of maths, so I'll not go into that. But we'll just have an overview about the search algorithms. So search algorithms, basically, when you do an internet search, that's also, a search algorithm. So searching is a universal technique of problem solving in AI. So when you were operating, say, Magic AI or Chat GPT, you were searching for some answers. So the machine understands it by the different algorithms. So there are some single player games such as tile games, Sudoku, crossword, etc. And the search algorithms help you to search for a particular position in such games. Now, single agent pathfinding problems. What are these? Say, for example, the games like 3 into 3 8 tile, or in 4 into 4 15 tile, or 5 into 5 24 tile puzzles that are there are basically single agent pathfinding challenges. Why they are single agent pathfinding challenges? Because they consist of a matrix of tile. So a matrix of tiles is there with a blank tile, and the player is required to arrange the tiles by sliding a tile either vertically or horizontally. If you remember playing 3 into 3 8 tiles or 4 into 4 15 tiles. So basically, it is a single agent tile because the player is required to arrange the tiles by sliding one tile. That's why it's a single agent. One tile either vertically or horizontally into a blank space with the aim of accomplishing some objective. There are other examples of single agent pathfinding problems, like say, for example, the traveling salesman problem, or Rubik's cube, or theorem proving, etc. Now, moving on, let us understand a little bit about search terminology. So when we do a particular search, first of all, we define what is problem space. Now, what is problem space? It is the environment in which the search takes place. So what is the state of environment? What is the state of states of the environment and the operations to change those states? That is called the problem space. And then we move on to problem instance, which is basically the initial state and the goal state. So that is called problem instance. Then we can also draw a problem space graph, which actually uses nodes and operators shown by wedges. Then we have the depth of the problem, that means the shortest path or the shortest sequence of operators, which can be used from reaching to the final goal from the initial goal. Say, for example, you want to reach one point to the other. So what would be the shortest route, right? That will determine the depth of the problem. So if you are using the shortest route, that means the shortest path or the shortest sequence you are doing, and you are using less number of operators. And what would be the set of operators? Like say, for example, I want to travel from India to UK. It may be a direct flight, or it may be a flight which has different breaks. Now, I have to understand that which are the points where I am stopping. If it is a break flight, how much time does it take, and also what price they are charging, and what is the time that the flight starts, and what is the time that the flight ends, okay, it reaches its destination, the goal is reached. So that is the depth of the curve. Okay, then we have something called the time complexity. Time complexity is the maximum number of nodes that are created. Then we have admissibility, which is a property of algorithm to always find optimal solution. Then other things are there like branching factor. So I hope you have understood what is depth. So depth is basically the length of the shortest path from the initial state to the goal state. So in basic physics and English, we understand that what is the difference between displacement and the distance. So what is displacement? Displacement is basically the shortest path from the source to the destination. Whereas distance is the actual path covered from the source to the destination. Now I will give you a very simple example of, say for example, you have a triangle A, B and C. So let us say that it is a right angle triangle. Now what would be the shortest path? The shortest path would be if you move in the direction of the hypotenuse. Because if you travel the length and then the breadth, then the distance would be much more than the hypotenuse. So instead of traveling the length and the breadth, you can actually travel just the hypotenuse. So which is the shortest path from the initial state to the state. Okay. Then we have some other things like okay. So basically, when you talk about a single agent I have covered, search terminology I have covered. So there can be different types of search strategies. Like one of the search strategy is a brute force search strategy, which is most simple as it does not need any domain specific knowledge. So what you require in a brute force search strategy, first of all, you need to give the description of the state. That means the environment of the system. And which are the operators? What you have to define the initial state and you have to define the final state. That is the goal state. So breadth first search, it actually starts from the root node. So as you can see over here, the root node is 0. That you can see over here. And explores the neighboring nodes. First moves towards the next level neighbors, generates one tree at a time until the solution is found. So it can be implemented using FIFO. FIFO is first in, first out, queue data structure. So basically, I will not go into details. If the branching factor, that is the average number of child nodes for a given node, is B. So over here, you can see 2 child nodes are there. So one moving from 0 to 1, the other moving from 1 to 3 or 1 to 4. So 2 child nodes are there. So if the branching factor is B and the depth is D, then we can say that the total number of nodes, it can be, B plus B2 plus B3 and so on, right? So the branching factor being B and the depth being D, then the number of nodes would be what? The number of branches and the node that you are taking. So basically, the branching factor would be B into D, D times D. Now the disadvantage over here, since each level of the nodes is saved for creating the next one, it consumes a lot of memory space. And the space requirement of the store is exponential. So like this, there are breadth first search, then depth first search. So I'm not going into the details of the different types of search. Rather, I'll skip this and move into something which is simpler. So basically, uh, when you are doing the different types of searches, it can be based on the time, it can be based on the space, it can be based on the optimality, and it can be based on the completeness that is there. Okay. I'm not going into the different types of searches. Rather, what I'll do is, move to understanding the next important perspective, which is called fuzzy logic. So what is fuzzy logic? Fuzzy logic systems produce acceptable but definite output in response to incomplete, ambiguous, distorted, and inaccurate input. That means if your input is incomplete, ambiguous, distorted, or inaccurate, then fuzzy logic systems actually help correct the incomplete inputs. So what is fuzzy logic? Fuzzy logic is basically a method of reasoning that resembles human reasoning. So the approach of fuzzy logic actually imitates the way of decision making in humans, which involves intermediate possibilities. Now, digitally, you know that every computer understands either a 0 or a 1. So it operates on a binary system. So which means that digital values are actually yes or no. So the conventional logic block that a computer can understand, as I said, takes precise input and produces a definite output as true or false, which is equivalent to yes or no. Now, there can be other intermediate states also in between. So the inventor of fuzzy logic is Lofty Jade, and he observed that unlike computers, human decision makes and includes a large number of possibilities between yes and no. Like it can be certainly yes, it can be possibly yes, it can be cannot say, it can be possibly no, or it can be certainly no. There can be other intermediate states also in between. So the fuzzy logic actually works on the levels of possibilities of input to achieve the definite output. So the immediate question is, how do you implement the fuzzy logic? So it can be implemented in systems with various sizes and capabilities, ranging from small microcontrollers to large network workstation-based control systems. So it can be implemented in hardware, software, or a combination of both. So my next question is that why fuzzy logic? So fuzzy logic is useful for commercial and practical purposes. What are the examples? Like it can control machines, it can control consumer products, it may give accurate reasoning, but acceptable reasoning. And fuzzy logic may help to deal with uncertainty in engineering. So what is the architecture of a general fuzzy logic? So fuzzy logic actually transforms the system inputs, which are crisp numbers, into a number of fuzzy sets. So, say for example, it can actually split into, say, large positive, medium positive, large negative, medium negative, like this. Now, what is knowledge base? Knowledge base is it stores if then. So if this event happens, then what? If it does not happen, then what? So something like that, provided by experts. Then we have inference engine, which actually stimulates the human reasoning process by making the fuzzy inference on inputs in the if-then rules. And lastly, we have the defuzzification module, which transforms the fuzzy set obtained by the inference engine into a crisp
mean
value.
much data. You Google Meet.
So this is basically how the fuzzy logic works. And Marv, uh, I think I can stop here and continue in the next class, because these are very conceptual in nature, and if I continue more, then people may not understand. So I'll take it uh, in a portion that people do understand. Okay, so basically, as I said, that when the inputs are ambiguous and unclear, right, then fuzzy logic works well, because it actually works so as to give a concrete and precise output. So crisp input, that goes to the fuzzifier, and then it uses the intelligence and the rules, and then the output comes, that is a defuzzifier, which is the crisp output. So that is basically how a fuzzy logic works. Now, based on this, you have the membership functions. That means it allows you to quantify linguistic term representing a fuzzy set graphically. So like this, say for example, a graph can be drawn with the input voltage, with the output voltage, the membership that is there. Okay. So an example of a fuzzy logic system can be an air conditioning system. So it can be a 5-level logic system, or even a fan. So fan has different speeds. So the regulator can have different speeds, so 1 to 5 or 1 to 7 maybe. So basically, according to your requirement, the fuzzy logic will work. So the system adjusts the temperature of the air conditioner by comparing the room temperature and the target temperature value. So based on the room temperature, the intelligence system actually gives you the output that it is neither too cold, not too warm, and something which is very comfortable. So in that case, we can use a fuzzy logic so as to regulate the temperature. Okay, so I'll continue with the fuzzy logic in my next session, next Friday, right? I hope whatever little I have said has been understood, and we'll continue from here. Thank you so much for your time, your patience, and I'm again telling that you all are doing your assignments very well, and I'm very happy for you. Thank you so much.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Professor Dr. Subrata, for this amazing knowledge you have shared with us this morning. I believe that my fellow leaders are learning deeply on this particular topic. You can put your slide down now, sir. Okay, so while Dr. Suprata is still with us, I just want us to appreciate him by showing your best emoji and say thank you to Dr. Suprata. If you can do that, please quickly use your emoji to just appreciate him for the great work he has done for us. Another thing I also want you to do, if you want to express your gratitude, you can type it on the chat box to respond to him. Then the next one is please ask questions. Questions. I mean, this is a very great topic that is going to be with us for some time, AI, or artificial intelligence. And we don't want to be moved about it. So that is why we are learning deeply on this artificial intelligence. So if you have any question or something Dr. Supraya has said that you are not
I
sure.
think that is appreciation for now.
Sorry, what did you say?
So Ambassador Omotola Sobowale say thank you, sir.
Okay, yeah,
And Mrs. Victoria has expressed
yeah.
nice class.
And then
So
some
thank
people
you
also
so much
use,
for your
yeah,
appreciation.
some of them also use their emoji. Any questions so far? Do you have any questions, please? Quickly, quickly. All right. One more question for you, Dr. Supraya. Please don't leave us yet. I believe you will still hang around for
See,
because
I've been telling this,
okay,
AI is the blessing or a cause. So
okay,
basically, AI should be an enabler. It should be used for our purposes.
okay,
So it should help attain the mundane jobs very well. So, when you talk about creativity, when you talk about things which require human intervention, that will always be there. Otherwise, artificial intelligence can do the routine mundane tasks. So that is a blessing because it will, help us eradicate those things, giving that task to the machine, and the rest can be taken up by humans, which can be used intelligently. Okay.
okay.
So, Ma, with your permission, I have a meeting. Can I leave?
And one more questions from me as well.
Okay.
AI, artificial intelligence, sir. Some people don't have opportunity to have access to computer or to any digital platform or something like that. But is there any way we can transcript? I mean, generally, I'm just asking. Some people, especially in the rural area, is there any way we can educate them on AI without using any digital system? Is there any way we can educate them because they also need to have
So
an
you
idea?
need to have a system, right? So either a mobile phone or a laptop. So that has to be there
Yeah,
because AI is all about machine learning. So if you do not have a machine,
yeah.
how can you
How
learn?
can you do that? Okay. So what about those people that I believe that we are all learners on this platform. So, but what about those people that didn't have that opportunity to be in our own level like this? How can we break it down for them, the information? Is there any way
Well,
we can
see,
break it down simple without being too complex?
so I have, in my sessions, you have seen that, I have not used programming, I have not used any algorithms, I have not used, complicated things.
Mm.
So made things as much simple as possible because, we are focusing on AI applications and the basics of AI. So that is the way it has to be done in the
Okay.
simplest way.
Okay. And then the last question, then I can release you, sir. And the last question will be for our younger ones, I mean the younger ones that are about to start their career in life. And as you can agree with me that with this AI, some jobs will not be, I mean, some jobs will be absolute, where some jobs will still adapt to AI. Any
Hmm.
advice that you can give to those people that will be thinking of their career? What
So,
advice and what kind of jobs that they can be looking into as
so
well?
basically, I'll share with you the list of jobs that are upcoming, right?
Okay.
But as I said, that the jobs wherein intelligence is not required, where decision making is not required. So those are things that we can do with artificial intelligence, for instance. So jobs will get transformed.
Okay.
Even whether the AI system is functioning well or not, for that you need AI managers.
Mm.
Okay, so as to see whether the thing is there in place. So things may be automated, but then whether the automation is working properly, and also the supply of those devices and maintenance of those devices. So so jobs will get transformed, and new jobs will be created. So there is no question of jobs being lost, but
Yeah.
then it will transform to different things.
In terms
Now I
of,
will rush now. I'll have this
I know
meeting.
you are rushing out. Just one question. In terms of examination, do you advise people to use AI for their examinations and
Of
other things?
course, of
Okay.
course, of course. People should use any new technology and embrace new technology and
Yes.
not be averse to the technology,
But with the
because unless
technology,
unless we
candidates
have the
also
knowledge,
use their
then
own.
how can we say whether it will be useful or uh, harmful for us?
Okay. So, in a nutshell, they need to use both the artificial intelligence or any other application there, but they also
Right,
need to be aware that
right,
they are
right.
critical thinking. They are using their own
Yes,
minds to do some work is also very important, so that not to depend on just machine for the exams. Anyway, since you will need to go, we thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward next week, and I will reserve my question, more questions for you for next Friday. So thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you dearly, Professor Dr. Subrata from India. Thank you so much, sir.